Good morning. Today, we are gathered here for a blended learning session on the topic of ethical, legal, and environmental concerns. To begin with, I'm going to state the objectives. So, the lesson objectives for today are as follows: analyze the ethical issues related to computer science technologies, analyze privacy and security issues, analyze the environmental impact of computer science. Um, Today in MS Teams, Microsoft Teams, I have devised channels in which the groups have been arranged as indicated in the following table. So Alpha channel has the following members: Ms. Shigufa, Ms. Parveen, Ms. Nudrat, Ms. Padma. Gamma channel has following members: Mr. Fahad, Mrs. Salma, Mrs. Tasneem, Mrs. Fatima, and Sir Alvin. Omega channel has the following members: Mr. Asfar, Ms. Zeenat, Ms. Faryal, Ms. Shaista, and Ms. Garima. The flow of the session would be as follows. First, we would have a starter. We are going to use a web based app called Mural. We are going to brainstorm, and this will be performed independently from your devices. Uh, so, the students who are present in the class are also going to use the devices to collaborate with the students who are at home. Then the second task would be a main task. In this task, you will be collaborating first on your channels. You have been given a claim to discuss and collaborate on. Once your for and against arguments are completed, then you will be discussing it with the entire class. Again, this is collaborative. This does not require you to video stream. It can be done just by going on to your respective dedicated channel and using the chat function. The last but not the least is the plenary. There is something really exciting. I would ensure that I wrap up using menti.com towards the end. Okay, now we are well aware that our world is built on computers, and there are so many sectors that are being taken care of, like travel, environment, you name it, space. Recently, you have seen that how the Space Hope mission was successful in UAE because of the technology. Now, when we are talking about all the kind of considerations, we also have to regard uh, robots, because robotic is a emerging field, and we have to see that robots are outdoing humans in a lot of ways. There is this example that the game of Go in ancient times was invented in China. It was played on a 19 into 19 grid. There were about 10 raised to power 170 possible combination of moves. Now, recently they have designed a program or created a program called AlphaGo, and it can actually outbeat humans. So, when we are talking about these kind of instances, and we instill our complete trust on robots, we have to imagine if we are ready for driverless cars, if we are ready for artificial intelligence to scan our to scan us, and if we are ready for these robots to take care of us. For example, recently there was a robot called Mabu, which was launched, and the purpose of launching Mabu was, since it's a healthcare robot, it sits on the owner's bedside table as a personal healthcare companion. It is also intended for patient managing chronic diseases. The robot talks to the patient and reminds them to take the medication. When Mabu was collected from patients after trials, many said she sometimes acts like a member of the family. Imagine this: if you're not getting along with a particular family member and Mabu has certain traits, then it would definitely put off the patient. Okay, now the second consideration for today is the Data Protection Act. It was introduced in United Kingdom in 1998. The act specifies the rules about collecting and holding data. That data must be accurate and up to date. You have the right to see what data is held about you. The data must be protected from unauthorized access. Why does the data need protection? Now, of course, we do not want, um, since we are stakeholders for any hospital service or educational service, or even we are people who are citizens of United Arab Emirates, we would not like our personal data to be leaked by in any case. And in this regard, what is there is that the Data Protection Act safeguards our rights. um, the important aspect is, why would government collect data? And how much is the civil are the civilians or the public comfortable with respect to it? You are well aware that government does it for ensuring the security of the state. And when we are talking about the companies are more uh, inclined to collect commercial aspects of the data, so that they could personalize certain websites for you, they could target their advertisements, etc. Then we come to the Copyright Designs and Patent Act. That this is a second legal aspect that we have to consider today, and we are going to talk about the copyright law, which actually protects the owner's creative work from being reproduced without his or her permission. So this law actually gives the credit to the creator of a particular software or a particular product, and the person would be getting a certain amount of profit when the product gets sold. There's a way out if you are very much interested. There's a Creative Common license, which allows a person to copy and download that particular product that has been designed or created. Still, the right of the creator is not revoked, but there is an allowance for copying or downloading or using the image or the software snippet somewhere. It is illegal otherwise for an individual to copy software such as a game or any other application, and same goes for software development. Now, let me draw your attention to um, the issue that there was a very popular ethical concern when Volkswagen said that it had a automation on the car engine that allowed least carbon dioxide emission. And later on, it was discovered, when, since it was a proprietary software and no one was allowed to copy and replicate it, but after certain scientists raised their concern, it was investigated and it was found out that it was not true. And the software actually showed something that was not true. It was misinterpretation, and it created effect where people thought that they are creating least carbon dioxide emission, whereas it was not true. And the software which was actually running or executing was indicating a false claim. So this is one of the things. We are not allowed to copy music or software from websites, and because there, of course, there are concerns, this is unfair. We have to ensure that if we are using certain music or software or videos, then we do follow the legal ways of doing it. Now, the last but not the least is the environmental consideration. Like organizations such as schools and hospitals have obligation of disposing old computers by recycling, and some organization will definitely refurbish old working computers or sell and donate them. This does happen at Pristine regularly. The focus is also on a larger scale, where the developed countries are actually sending their second hand or no longer used or redundant computers and devices to underdeveloped countries or poor nations. The problem is that these nations might be reusing these devices in some way, but the problem is concerned with the e-waste. What is done with the e-waste? So today, later on, when you will be assigned claims, you might be required to read further and support the claim, or argue against the claim based on what idea or what claim do you support. Remember one thing: when we are going to talk about the ethical considerations, I would suggest that there are three ways that you can support or do away with a certain argument, you have to refute the paradox. This is the first aspect. The situation must be carefully analyzed. In some cases, the existence of the dilemma can be logically refuted. So it is very logical. Like if it is a e-waste for a developed nation, it would be definitely a e-waste for a poor nation also. And then the second aspect is value theory and approach. You should choose the alternative that offers the greater good or lesser evil. The third and final aspect is find the alternative solution. So if there is a problem and that can be reconsidered in an alternative solution, something really innovative, so you need to consider that. So I think that is it. How much energy does the computer waste? Older computers with CRT had a lot of energy usage. These days, they are building computers which require very less energy, but still, in terms of electronic waste, it has to be, it cannot be decomposed by the environment.